the game, that means there is a new tier list to review. Is it copium? Is it ass? Or is it actually kind of good? Today, guys, we'll be reviewing the Prydwen tier list, seeing everything they've changed. They've made actually one major change, so we actually have a lot to talk about in today's video. Then we'll see all the up and down movement of the characters, and then we'll also see where they placed Alice at. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and hop into the tier list here. Now, as you can see off rip, guys, completely removed the whole stun category. Now, I am very curious to hear, what are your guys' thoughts on them removing the stun category? I personally think it is really good. And that's because the game has been shifting, and shifting in a way that we don't really need like stunners just to be stunners anymore. We need stunners to be supporters or sub DPS or anything like that. And I honestly had a lot of disagreements with the previous stun category that we had, because a lot of the characters, yes, they were good at stunning, but they weren't good at buffs. And then you have someone like Lighter at the top, which I don't believe is the best at stunning in the world. Now, there is only one thing I kind of dislike now, because they've kind of segregated the game, in my opinion. They've segregated it into two different things. If you look at something like HSR, guys, HSR has a lot of different roles and classes that each character can play, whether that be sub DPS, whether that be a main DPS, whether that be support or sustain character, right? Obviously, the teams are constructed of 4 different people versus 3 different people. So I guess this tier list makes sense in a sense that, yeah, you only have 3 people at the team, but there's very not many people in this sub secondary DPS category here, which obviously I want to see this get filled out a bit more, or maybe you move some of these main DPS. Like, I think Piper could be used as a secondary DPS. I think Jane Doe could be used as a secondary DPS. I think some of these DPS could be used as secondary DPSs, and I would be curious to see what those ranks are. And also on this side here, maybe you can use some of them as secondary DPS as well. Maybe not on this side, but definitely on this primary DPS side, I think that some can be moved over here. Now, guys, let's hop into a Scalar draw here and kind of talk about all of the changes they made. Obviously, the biggest change being that they removed the whole stun category, so let's talk about this first. I was always of the mindset that I did not think that Lighter deserved to be in tier 0 of stun category, but I do think he sits at the top of the tier list with both Yuzaha and Austrial. I don't think I have really any complaints with that. Where I start getting into more of my gripes is actually going into this second category here, tier 0.5. And the reason why I think that is because, while yes, the partner Yi Xuan, I don't think she needs to be ranked with Yi Xuan to actually be very capable, because I still think her with Evelyn also works really good too. I think she can work outside of this Yi Xuan teams, and I think that she is better than what Lycon is. And I really think there is a pretty big gap in between, if we're putting them in support tier now, what Jufufu here can do, and also Lycon as well. I understand why Lycon's up here, right? And then we have partner of miyabi. We'll talk about both these characters right now. I genuinely think, guys, that I am of the mindset that there is no shot Shokaku is always above her. I am the firm believer that Caesar King is better. Like, you give the same attack buff, sure, I think the attack buff's great. She's only good for ice-type teams, and the debuff that Caesar King's able to provide, I think people overlook this debuff a lot, because this debuff is actually really, really good, guys. You're increasing the damage that the enemies take from your teammates by 25% for 30 seconds. Yes, it's not the 30% ice damage bonus, right? This is only affecting ice, this is affecting the whole team, so for that matter, I would be moving her down at least on the tier with someone like Caesar King, or hell, even below, because you have to get the flag buff on the correct character, so it really does cut her out of a lot of teams. And the only reason she's in the current slot that she's in is because of the fact that she can be ran on a miyabi team, and that's it. Like, you're not going to be running her in sub DPS or dual anomaly teams, because you're going to have to get the flag buff on your miyabi, and then your sub DPS is going to suffer for no damage bonus. Whereas I think you have a little bit more versatility with someone like Caesar King, which offers increased damage for every single one of your allies doing damage to the enemies, but also the attack buff goes to whoever has a shield on. So while you're not getting off-field damage, whoever's proccing anomalies off, if they're on the field, they're going to be getting that buff as well. So a lot of your on-field anomaly characters can take much better use of her, in my opinion. So for that matter, honestly, I'd probably be moving Shokaku down here. I think it's kind of copium to even say that she's on the same level as Caesar King. If you twisted my ankle a bit, maybe you put her in the same tier at tier 1 with Caesar King, but no shot she's above her right now, in my opinion. I honestly think, guys, that Lycon is probably in the same tier as well. Like, I don't think he's inherently bad. I just think that, you know, the only thing he's doing is increasing ice damage. The only real ice damage dealer we have is, like, we have Hugo and her. You know what? We do have both of them, so I mean, he does overall help out. The overall buffs that Jufufu is able to provide, with the universal debuff of his defense down that she's able to provide, I think she deserves to be up here. I really just think this is it right here, guys. I think you have Jufufu and Nicole up here. You move these 2 characters down. Actually, you move these 3 characters down. I think Jufufu is better than Trigger as well, so we'll be moving her down. And as far as this list here, I think you move Polkor down. I think Polkor's fine, but I think both Trigger and Lycon are better than her, so if we're moving both of those down, then she has to move down as well. And in terms of what Caesar King is, guys, I see they have this eyeball here. I'm very curious to see why they have this eyeball on her, because I don't think she should move down anymore. If you're talking about moving her down even more, that is absolutely egregious. No shot she moves down even more. So it says right here, guys, Lucy, Caesar, and Rena are being added to the watch list. All three of these ancient supports outline our current tier underperforming compared to their tier peers. We're watching these lists. I don't think so. I think you guys are overblowing the performance and you're overlooking certain things in their kits. Personally, guys, like Shokaku is really good for a Miyabi team. I'm not going to sit here and doubt you with that. She's even decent on teams with Hugo as well, or can be decent, but you really want to buffer. So, I mean, really, you're locked into using it with her and only on one specific team with Miyabi as well. So, for that matter, no shot. I think she restricts your gameplay way too much, and for that, I'm moving her down. I think that Caesar King can stay where she's at right now. I think that the leading Supreme characters in tier 0.5 are going to be both Jufufu and also Nicole as well. I think we move Polka now. Like I said before, I think Rena is absolutely fine where she's at right now. If we're talking in terms of Koleda, I think Koleda moves up. I think chain attack damage is becoming more and more prevalent. With the chain attack damage buff that she's able to provide, I think it really does help out characters like Evelyn here, and I think it also helps out characters like Yishun here as well. So I think for that reason, we can move her up a tier, because I think she is better than what Seth can give to anomaly teams right now, because you're not using Seth on a team if you have used, like, she is just so much better. So this is my genuine thoughts over here. Very, very scrambled. Let's see if I can clean this up a bit here. All right, guys, briefly touching on our secondary DPS. Now, I don't think that Grace is this much lower than our other secondary DPS. I don't think she's 1, 2, 3 full tiers below, maybe two full tiers below. I mean, like, we're just arguing on semantics at this point. But now let's hop into our main gripe here, or our main squeeze here, I guess you could say, which is the main DPS category, primary DPS category. Yeah, I think absolutely that these two characters are on the same level, but I will say one thing. I think with the release of Yuzuha, we don't have, honestly, a best in slot for Yishun right now. How I would structure this, and I'm a glazier of Yishun, guys, don't get me wrong. I think Miyabi is in tier 0. I do think that Miyabi's in tier 0. I think she's the best of the best. What I think happens, though, is we need to actually create a whole new bracket of characters here, because I do genuinely think, well, okay, they moved him over here. I think that both of these characters move down. I think all three of these characters also would move down a tier, and you're going to see where I'm getting at here, guys. I genuinely think that she's going to basically create a new tier for herself with how good she is with the current Yuzuha meta that's in the game right now. And she can also pair up with Alice, too, in a sub-DPS team if you play it optimally. If you played optimally, and I do think that is going to be the case for most of our characters here. I think you all bump them down one tier here, and then we go from there, right? And while we're talking about bumping each one of these characters down, I'm pretty much fine with where Soldier 11's at. I'm pretty much fine with where Harumasa's at, but what I'm not fine with is where Zhuyan's at. I think that we actually bump Zhuyan all the way down here to the same tier that Harumasa's going to be on, because, well, yes, he's expert level, right? I think that in terms of, like, generally using them, his kit is just overall structured better to get more damage out and get more damage out in more scenarios than Zhuyan's kit is. So for that matter, I'm moving her down to the same tier as him, and when he's expert, I think he does become better. As with our other characters, I do think that both Jane Doe and Piper got amazing buffs with the release of Alice. I think you can put them on an Alice team and it works out super, super well. I want to see what the reason is they moved them up, but I do think that's very true. Piper shares many similarities with Jane and is benefiting from many of the same boosts. Piper does not have anomaly crit that Jane has, nor as much flexibility, so we feel it's close enough in performance to Jane to raise her tier 1 alongside her for now. I actually disagree with that. I think what we do here, guys, is I think genuinely we move Ellen Joe down a tier to this tier. I think that's fine. I think we move Silver Soldier Ambi down a tier because Seed's gonna fuck that ass right on up. And genuinely, I think that we move Piper down as well. I think that Jane Doe is actually a lot better than Piper in this scenario because of how Jane Doe's kit works in comparison to how Alice kits work. They pair up really nicely together. If you're going to sit here and give someone like Shokaku this special treatment of keeping her all the way up here, there is no shot that you're going to sit here and tell me that she doesn't provide the same level here. That's why I think that some of these characters should be moved over to this tier here, because genuinely, I do think that you would see a lot of these characters potentially placing pretty well, like Jane Doe. If you put her over here, I think she'd be in tier 1. If you were to put someone like Piper in this tier, I think she'd be over here in tier 1 where she's currently at right now. Some of the other characters we have here, guys, I think that these characters are really good, and I do think this is generally where their placements would be at if you moved them over to this tier here. So as to not cause any confusion, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and move their little images over here to where I think they would be at if we had them in the secondary DPS category. Alright, guys, now hopping into Miss Yanagi here, I genuinely do not think she's up here with tier tier 0.5, or I don't think she's up here with both the likes of Hugo, Evelyn, and also Alice. There is just no shot that she's outputting the same amount of damage as a primary DPS that someone like Alice is putting out. Alice is performing much higher at a much higher level than she is. I genuinely think she moves down here to this tier. Like, yes, she's good for miyabi teams, but I do think someone like Vivian is a lot better for her. And then if you're running on a miyabi team, I mean, she's going to be a sub-secondary DPS anyways, or that's what she feels like anyways on that team. If we're judging her as a main DPS, there is no shot that she competes with any of these other characters. So for that matter, we're going to be moving her down. Don't know why I'm coloring that in. Anyways, guys, so I had to make a couple refinements to this. I'm actually going to be moving Jane Doe down because I don't think Jane Doe is on the same level as these three here, because I'm about to move all three of these characters down to tier 1 basically because of how good I think she is. So for that matter, we're moving Jane Doe down to tier 1.5. I'd be moving down Piper down to tier 2 because of the fact that I do think she is worse than what Jane Doe is able to provide. And then we're moving Yanagi down to tier 1.5 because no shot she's worse than Piper. I think if anything, she's probably on par with what Jane Doe is able to do as a main DPS. And then in terms of our other characters here, guys, I think for Alice, Evelyn, and then also Hugo, Vlad, I think all three of these characters, guys, they get moved down to tier 1 as I mentioned before. And then finally, guys, for our last take here, I think she moves down here. This is our tier list right here, guys. Hopefully I try to make the arrows as concise as possible, or I want each one of these characters to move. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below, because genuinely I think that we should be moving characters over to secondary DPS. I think this is a little bit scuffed and fucked up. Overall, I don't think Prydwen did the worst job, and especially in terms of moving these characters over, I think they're placed a little bit high. I think the placement for them is kind of okay, but I feel like just how much power that miyabi has gotten from the release of someone like Yuzuha genuinely makes her an ultimate powerhouse and someone much better than Yi Xuan right now. And until we get someone that's supporting sheer damage like an S rank that's able to do that and not Panda Yoon here, then for that matter, we keep her up there, because if we're going to use that same logic, then Panda Yoon should be up in the same spot that Shokaku's up at, and there's just absolutely no shot, is there? Anyways, guys, I guess that's our final adjustment. We move Panda Yoon down because he has to be on the same level as that, right? If we're going along the lines of their tier list, right? Surely. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I don't think Prydwen messed up, like I said. I think this is an okay tier list. There's a lot of changes I would make. I'm just overall kind of disappointed. I feel like they're very lazy in the placements. I'm not to say that I'm lazy, because I'm very, very lazy with Zenless Zone Zero. Like, I definitely do not log on this bitch every day, okay? I do Shiyu defense and deadly assault like 1 or 2 times, and then I'm off that bitch, okay? So, like, obviously I don't have the best takes in the world. These are very opinionated takes from the experiences that I have. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. I'm not trying to shit on you guys any longer, because I think we've been battling each other for too long. Anyways, guys, I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired. Please, God, subscribe to the channel. Anyways, guys, see you later. Catch you in the next one later. Bye.